Welcome back to At Home with the Dogganses.
Hey fuckers, what's up?
Welcome to a multi-part series here, the 2025 Florida trip report.
Yo!
We went to Florida, for me, for the first time since I lived there, and for you, for the first time since, what, high school?
No, well, there was that brief time where I watched an alligator eat a box of cigarettes in Orlando for AmeriCorps, but probably since high school before that.
So, as long as I've lived in California, my friend group has had this idea of doing the Florida trip, like a big Florida trip that we all go on together.
Yeah.
And it just kept getting pushed back for reasons, and then, pandemics and stuff, and the big Florida trip never actually happened. And I always had in my head that my first time back in Florida would be the big Florida trip. A big completionist trip where we do everything, see everything, film videos, make it a whole thing.
Yeah.
And then, we found out Muppet Vision was closing.
Yeah, so we had to improvise.
We had to prioritize seeing Muppet Vision one last time or 7 last times before it went away. And for a hot second here, we were looking at making this the big trip, like inviting everyone we know, making it a big extravaganza. And then scheduling and financial realities made that unfeasible, and it ended up just being the two of us.
Yes, indeed.
So, the big trip is still a pipe dream to maybe happen someday, but
Vision will not be a part of it, unfortunately.
Yes, sadly. So this was not the big Florida trip. We did not do everything. Like, right off the bat, didn't do Epic Universe. Didn't ride anything in any non-Hollywood Studios Disney park.
Correct.
Didn't do Velocicoaster. Didn't do East Coast Supercharged.
You're funny.
Look, again, as a completionist, I'm morbidly curious to do. We did other shit that maybe is even lower on the totem pole than East Coast Supercharged.
Totally fair, yeah.
But, so this is going to be a multi-part episode where we talk about, what we did in the parks, and then also one of the episodes in the coming weeks will just be the spoiler-filled stuff that's changed since I was last there, just all the new stuff we did.
And then we're going to review a romance bookstore that we went to in Orlando.
Yes, other non-park stuff we did. This is the first non-park stuff we did episode, and then there will be another non-park stuff we did episode.
Yes.
So, yes, enjoy the next month's worth of us talking about these basically 3.5 days we spent traveling.
Because of you listening, we will have repaid the t-shirt Dave got me at the bookstore, which is very nice.
We have to sustain this content out over a full Patreon pay cycle in order to reimburse exactly one souvenir we got on this trip.
Oh, you did keep the receipt for that place, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay. Because that shirt's going to be my Instagram content for the next year as well. So
there will be raw footage on upcoming Throwback Thursdays for a lot of the stuff we did on this trip, including our multiple Muppet Vision visits.
Yes, we will talk about that later.
Yeah. But we'll start with the general travel. Like we said, we were originally planning a bigger trip with a bunch of people. Well, it started we should go with Gabby because as a Disney Parks employee, she could potentially sign us into Disney World. But then Gabby couldn't make it when we could make it. And, all these other things I ran into, a lot of other reasons, we were going to invite a lot of people and sort of take point on all of it. And we put out the feelers, but schedules didn't line up for people. And also the upfront costs we would have had to lay down were just not feasible.
Yeah.
Especially when I had dental emergencies and stuff, a lot of unexpected.
It was the dental emergency and then some stuff with the car, and it was just kind of oh no, this is insane. Unexpected
expenditures kept coming up, and even the trip we did was one we could barely afford.
Yeah.
But it ended up just being the two of us. We took a red eye out to Orlando after I had a work day, which I think we've talked on this podcast before about how I can't sleep on airplanes and how every time we do a red eye, we say never again.
Yeah.
And yet here we were. It was what we could afford and what we could fit into our schedule.
Yeah. And I was already hyped up because Heartbound had another coffee pop-up over there, and I had a little too many of the salted Oreo lattes that were absolutely fantastic. Water Signs Coffee, look them up. They're fantastic.
I mean, that sounds really good. I do want to try that. But unfortunately, I was at work. This was also the day that, like, this was part of like a weekend thing where at work where there was a semi third party, semi endorsed by Knott's, but like they basically made a regular Knott's fan an employee for like one weekend in order to sell Weird Juice, which was a Berry Tales themed alcoholic concoction.
Wild times
at the Berry Tales beverage stand, which. I was with Boysen that day. Unfortunately, it didn't come up that much, but this ran the issue of like, we are not allowed to photograph the characters with alcoholic beverages.
For good reason.
Yeah, but here's a Berry Tales themed drink, and fortunately, nobody really tried to take a picture with Boysen with the Berry Tales alcohol. But it's still, we were like bracing ourselves for, is this going to be an issue? But I did get to see some of my Kooky Trails friends who were there to support that. So
also, I got a job like in the middle of all this too, which was like,
yes, and this was part of the other reason this was the exact window we could take this trip, was because it was before your new weekend only job started up.
Yeah.
It was like basically right between there.
Yep. I had the option to start like that weekend, the weekend before, where we would have flown out that Sunday, and even I realized that was just too much.
But anyway, I got done with my day of work. Came home. Dad drove us to LAX. Again, we always tell ourselves we're going to fly out of John Wayne, but LAX had nonstop to Orlando.
Yeah.
And in light of everything, we want as few opportunities for crash landings as possible.
Yeah, trust me, we checked to see like if the Orlando airport was under the same issue that Newport
that Newark
was under. Yeah.
What I was telling myself, and obviously we survived the flight. we survived both flights. But
we're both decided that we're going to maybe take a train to DC the next time that we're going to head to see my family. So
we looked into trains to Orlando, and it's like, well, it would be a full week on the train, which I'm not opposed to. I just can't take that much time off of work.
Yeah, I think the last time you did that was the one that time you brought me back to live here. So like,
oh, if it was Starbucks, I wouldn't give a shit about taking that much time off. But
sure.
but not to brag, but I'm kind of an essential piece of the character department infrastructure, despite having an entry-level position. When I'm not available, the schedule is fucked.
Yeah.
It helps because I'm not a student and don't have other jobs and have full availability and am also good at my job and people like working with me. Yeah. It's like I am right in the sweet spot of if I'm not there, they're in trouble.
If I'm not there, the whole economy crumbles. So,
but we went to LAX for direct flights, and like the thing I was telling myself, like even as I had anxiety about how Elon is directly causing planes to fall from the sky, the thing I was telling myself prepping for this trip is like, if any two airports in the country are going to be prepared for air traffic, it's LAX and MCO.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
it was nice that both airports have that you don't need to take your laptop out of your bag type of screener now, which just makes things so much easier.
Yes, which we'll get to that with Orlando because that's only the case in some of the of the security checks in Orlando.
Absolute fucking chaos. That was wild, man.
I actually forgot about that detail till you mentioned it, but yeah. So we were flying American, which we don't normally fly, and I can tell we don't normally fly it because I did not recognize this LAX terminal at all. We to get to it, like we went into the main terminal, but it was just a baby little terminal, and then we had to go through like what felt like a mile of underground tunnels to get to the part of the terminal where our flight was.
It was not a mile, it was 0.86. I tracked it on my watch.
Okay, so I'm barely being hyperbolic.
Yeah.
And we were not optimistic when, even as we got, like, as we were navigating this lab rat maze, this underground lab rat maze, where you could just see like piping and unfinished hallways and stuff. It did not make me optimistic where, even as we got to the end of this, the banners we were seeing for available food was still just the Starbucks and the pizza place that was in the other side of the terminal we had just left.
And all while we were doing this, folks, I need to tell you, I was cursing myself out mentally because a couple hours before this, I decided, you know what? I'm not going to walk it all before we get to Orlando. I'm going to take my happy little butt to Disneyland to like wander through downtown Disney to get like my 10,000 steps for the day. Thinking nothing much else after that. And then I realized I had to do another 20,000 in order to get to the freaking terminal. It was just like, good job, me.
Yeah. the things you're prepared for and then the things that end up actually... Anyway, fortunately, there was a restaurant on the other end of the terminal.
Yes.
A full-service sit-down restaurant. So we were able to get a dinner there. We got we split a California flatbread.
Yeah.
Which was all right.
Pretty solid. But I think both of us were slightly annoyed where the water on the table.
Yes, there was a big Evian bottle on the table that I assumed was the complimentary water. So I cracked it open before the server even got there. And she was like, just so you know, you're going to be charged for that water. I'm like, well, we might as well down this fucking bottle if we're getting charged.
Yeah, we drank it and then we poured it into our individual water cups just to kind of have it on hand.
Yeah, poured it into my swell and your Stanley.
Yes.
We also got ginger ales, which were terrible.
Awful.
Really bad ginger ales. Like, we didn't want caffeine because, again, we wanted a fighting chance to sleep on the flight that, even with the fighting... Because, like, our flight landed in Orlando at, like, 5-something a.m. local time. I'm pretty sure I really fucked up on my neck or shoulder on the flight trying to sleep because I had a severe, like, neck pain for the duration of the trip, and I still have a little bit of it now.
To this day.
It's mostly dissipated, but there's still a little echo of it. But yeah, the flatbread itself was good. It had like arugula on it or something.
It was like arugula, and it was like a barbecue brisket on there too.
Yeah, it was like a briskety flatbread. It was that was solid.
It was solid.
And now we've reviewed that, so we can write that off as as product and not as travel food.
Yeah. We did have a business meeting though on there where we just talked business for like 20 minutes. And then, when I say business meeting, we just repeated the word business 20 minutes for 20 times and they called it a day. So
it's like the IRS version of the Bechdel test.
Yeah,
you just have to have a conversation that does mention work.
Just like
So yeah, we had booked a hotel. It was actually a vacation villa, but it was like a hotel room, but with a kitchen. But it felt like an apartment building.
Yes,
but it was like a sprawling complex. It was the Sheraton Resort Villas in Lake Buena Vista.
Yes, and I wanted to book the hotel room this time specifically just because San Francisco was still a little scarring, and I just kind of wanted to make sure that we definitely had a bathroom.
You know what?
And I love you too.
I presented you with multiple other hotel options that all had in-room bathrooms, and you said no to all that. I'm looking it up myself. I had looked at so many potential hotels, and you said, no, but what about this instead?
Yeah. But to be fair, I don't think any of them else would have given us that $150 card that would.
Well, no, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. It's true that we lucked out on that one. Yeah. It's just that all of them would have been a lot cheaper. I looked at places that I was looking more in the Motel 6 sort of range of things. And searching Expedia price lowest to highest, but still checking for things that generally had, like, looking at the negative reviews to make sure they were all just
no cockroaches.
Yeah, to make sure the negative reviews were from weird, grumpy cranks who were upset that they didn't fulfill an unreasonable request and not, hey, my son died at this property. My hotel searching was not good enough for my darling wife here, so for her particular standards. So
listen, all I'm saying is sometimes it's worth spending $100 more because then you get a gift card back for $150. So
yeah, but I'm pretty sure if we had gone with one of the cheaper hotels, the cheaper hotels were like $200 less for the amount of time we were staying. So
sure, okay.
The point I was getting at was, we arrived early Monday morning, and we booked our hotel for Monday night because I was originally thinking with one of the cheaper hotels, we could book for Sunday night too, and then just check in when we get there. But you were like, that's paying for a whole extra day that we're only using a couple of hours of.
And also, and also too, like we, I think, did not realize that the week we went was Memorial Day weekend, which was, I think, causing a lot of surge pricing with a lot of tickets and hotels. Because when we were initially looking at like doing it, where we would just book we would book the Sunday night and do it in, it was like double, triple the price at some of the other places we were looking at hotel wise. And then it was like, oh, it's Memorial Day. And then when we did the Monday to Thursday thing, you know, the dates, when we changed the dates around, it was like, oh yeah, that was a lot cheaper just doing it that way. So
yeah, we looked into, do we book like just for one night, like the cheapest motel closest to the airport? But then you were like, I bet we might luck out with early check-in. Mm-hmm. And we weren't sure if that would be the case, but we were like, you know what? It's worth the gamble. And we can always, if we, like, worst case scenario, we can always take a nap in the hotel lobby.
Yeah, because I had also called check to see if we couldn't book in early, if there was, like, a place we could just put our stuff in for a little bit and just, like, maybe, you know, wander the grounds for a little while. And they were like, yeah, absolutely, we can.
Yeah, so we got to MCO. We enjoyed the big atrium hotel looking down over the lobby and the many theme park gift shops.
So fucking weird. Like, that just did not get that set up at all. Like, bizarre.
I'm just used to it. Like, it just seems normal for that whole airport to me. So we did just like decompress in the lobby for a second. We looked up lifts to the villa, and they would have been crazy expensive because it was, 5 a.m. and it was a far ways away. Mm-hmm. And then we were like, okay, what's the public transportation look like? Mm-hmm. And we were like, okay, we can take a bus that goes all the way to Disney Springs. And then from Disney Springs, it'll be a much more affordable lift to the villa. Yeah. I think we first looked at, okay, we can take a bus to Disney Springs and then change buses there. And then the bus would take us like basically across the street. And then it would be a 31-minute walk.
Yeah.
And then we were like, or we can just take the lift when we get to Disney Springs.
Yeah.
And there was some mix up there because there are apparently 2 Sheraton Resort villas in the Orlando area.
Yeah.
And I first accidentally was looking up the one on International Drive, mm-hmm. which would have been easier to get to, but was not as close to Disney World.
Yeah.
Closer to the Universal side of things, but we eventually sorted it out. But we were fortunate that we got there, and there was the bus line we needed. There was a bus that was loading like right as we got to the airport bus stop.
It worked out great because we were able to hop on there and just kind of like sit for a while.
Hop on there with like 17 people who were clearly there for some sort of a conference because they were all wearing matching polo shirts with some sort of company name on them.
It was a cult.
Which meant that for the first part of the bus ride, we had to sit sideways, and I was starting to get carsick.
Yeah.
But fortunately, once all those people left the bus, I was able to get a front-facing seat, and my nausea was abated a tiny bit, mm-hmm. but it was mostly just once we got off at Disney Springs, I was like, okay, I can breathe. But the main thing was the bus route took us to the Epic Universe stops.
Yes.
So we got to see the outside of Epic Universe.
Yeah, and a couple of bits that were peeking over the sight lines.
Yes, we could see like the top of Nintendo World. And my take from what we could see is, wow, their Mario Kart show building looks a fuck ton bigger than ours.
Yeah.
We could also see the top of the Frankenstein castle, and we saw the Helios Hotel.
Yeah.
Because that was a stop. And it was very funny that the bus route had to stop at these Epic Universe and Helios Hotel stops, and nobody got on or off at those stops. But they just have to do it because those are stops on the route.
Yeah.
But it was funny because, like, without those stops, the bus ride would have been, like, a good 15 minutes shorter.
Absolutely, yeah.
Just because navigating the path into the bus stops was, like, where most of the drive time was.
It was intense, yeah.
Then eventually we get to Disney Springs, and we got our luggage with us. We were able to pack everything into, like, one carry-on suitcase because, we were only going to be there for basically 3 nights.
Yeah.
We were like, let's pack light. Like, we had our backpacks, you had your medical bag, mm-hmm. and we had the one rolly suitcase, which was good for these travel-y parts of these transport parts. So I was originally thinking, oh, let's walk around Disney Springs, not realizing that Disney Springs, understandably so, in the time since I've left, is no longer just open access. There's actually security checkpoints. So when Disney Springs was closed, it didn't just mean the businesses were closed, it meant the actual path in was closed.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, okay, I've walked enough to feel less nauseous, so we can summon a lift now. And we summoned a lift, and we did the, wait a little longer to save a little extra money. And the lift driver was already there at the lift stop before we even summoned them.
It was great.
So we did not have to wait at all. We made it to the Sheraton, and we checked in. We asked, is there anything available for us to check in early? Because, our flight, by this point, it's probably 6:30, 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like it's a reasonable time of morning at this point, but it's still, because it was a long bus ride.
It really was. Yeah, it was about almost an hour.
Yeah.
So, we get there, we talked to good old Wanda, who was lovely, and she kind of was asking about, where we're coming in from and stuff, and I was like, we just had a very chaotic flight. It was very long. I am so sleepy. There was no air condition on the flight, which was really, really a bummer because I was sweating like a sweating person. And she just was like, okay, honey, let's see if we can get you an early check-in. And she found the one room that was ready, and she just was like, okay, go to concierge, they'll get you your map and stuff, and then we'll call you a little bus that'll take you down to your room. And I was like, thank you, Wanda. You are an angel. I know you're not listening, but I'm just saying, in general, you were fantastic.
It was very helpful, yes.
You were so kind. And so we go to concierge, and as we're getting our stuff taken, they mentioned, hey, do you want to earn $150? And we were like, sure, what do we have to do? And they're like, we'll give you the card now. You just have to come for this timeshare presentation. And I was excited. I'm not going to lie. Because the thing I've always heard about Florida is that there are timeshare presentations everywhere and you can make money doing it. And I was like, oh, I finally have my opportunity to make some money in Florida doing a timeshare. This is fantastic. Well, of course we can give 90 minutes of our time for this. I will. That is basically $75 an hour. I was like, yeah, totally. Let's go do this. And so we did.
So that prepaid Visa card they gave us paid for most, but not all of our meals and snacks over the course of the, we did deplete it before the trip was done. But it was, like I said, I don't know if the math checks out about if we had booked one of the cheaper hotels and not gotten that, we still probably would have broken even on about how much we spent. But hey, it was nice to get that little boost.
Yeah. Well, because it helped us not spend as much for breakfast, because on the first night, we got a huge pizza. And
yes, that's true.
Just ate that for breakfast every day.
Yes, we'll get to that shortly. But yeah, we took the shuttle back to... there's the complimentary shuttle throughout the grounds because, again, this was a sprawling complex. Multiple swimming pools, swimming pools, all with different kind of quirky,
water features.
Yeah, water features, accoutrement. But we took the shuttle over to where our room was. The shuttle driver took us to the wrong building first, and he's like, wait, no, I was wrong, hold on, and he U-turned and then took us but it was fine. And it's nice that there was that complimentary they were like, you just text this number, tell us where you are, and we'll take you anywhere else on the complex. And we proceeded to not use that at all, because that would require talking to someone.
Well, it would require us staying longer at the hotel than we wanted to, and we were there for a purpose. So.
I mean, we had other opportunities to use it, we just opted not to. So we got to our room. Like we said, there was a little kitchen, little living room, and the extremely firm mattress on the bed.
Yeah, but we were both so tired that we just kind of looked at each other and said, okay, we can nap for no longer than 2 hours, and then let's go somewhere just to get on time zone. And
well, we didn't even have the specific plan in mind. We were just like, let's take a nap now and see when we wake up.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we got about 2 hours of sleep. And when we woke up, we were like, okay, let's be up and go to bed tonight because it's our best chance to be remotely on this time zone.
Yeah. Because
now we actually have an appointment tomorrow. Originally, we were like, okay, the Disney World day, we will set an alarm, but on the Tuesday, we'll just wake up when we wake up.
Yeah.
But then it was like, okay, we're going to that timeshare meeting at a specific time.
Yeah, like I kind of purposely tried to do the earliest one possible just so that we could get it done for the day, basically.
Yeah. But that meant, okay, we're setting an alarm for tomorrow, so we'll just wake up and not go to bed till tonight. So when we were up, we were like, okay, let's go back to Disney Springs because it's a short-lived ride away, and it's free to do.
Yeah.
I mean, and also we were curious about Chicken Guy.
Yeah, because it had come out to here. You had to remind me that it did come here briefly for like a Mr. Beast kind of promotion situation.
In a form. We did that vlog back in 2020. Chicken Guy did a ghost kitchen in Buca di Beppo.
Yeah.
I was told that the Chicken Guy ghost kitchen was not the same, because like the Chicken Guy ghost kitchen was like sandwiches and the Chicken Guy restaurant is like tenders.
Yeah, yeah. And I had always been kind of curious about going to Chicken Guy. I don't know if it's just because I've heard about it on Podcast The Ride, or because I feel like Tony had a joke about it in one of his videos at one point. I do know also Joey Fatone has like spoken very lovingly about how much he digs Chicken Guy. And I don't know why, but that just endears me. I do remember also being really excited when I realized we were really like in Lou Pearlman country. Like once we were in Florida directly, I was like, oh man, the wellspring of 2000s lore is in this area. I can feel it in my bones. So we go over there. We'll be like, oh, we can, play around with this gift card, see if it actually works, basically. I remember you were slightly annoyed because we found out we couldn't tip on this card. And you were...
Yeah, that was one of the things they said was like, you can't leave a tip on this, like on the receipt. So I was sure not to use this prepaid card anywhere I knew I was going to be tipping. Yeah. Or to just tip with cash if that was the case.
Mm-hmm. But like Chicken Guy was kind of like a good test case to see if this thing actually worked, and it did. And, so we, like, sat and, like, after remembering that we did try the Chicken Guy a couple years ago, I do feel like the tenders were actually a lot better there, though I kind of wish we had, because they had 3 options, which is, like, a grilled tender, a regular, and a spicy. And we gotten, like a plate of 5 to share, and I think I said to you that I kind of wish that we had, like, all of them to try at one go.
Yeah, it would have been nice if there was a full-on, like sampler platter.
Yeah.
But, the tenders were pretty good. Like, I wouldn't go far out of my way for them, but I think if Chicken Guy and Raising Cane's were right next to each other, I'd get Chicken Guy more than I get Raising Cane's.
Yeah, I liked their Boom Boom sauce or whatever it was a lot better than, like,
I liked that they were just blunt about the, like they just told you the ingredients of all the sauce. It was like, mayo and Thousand Island or whatever. It just listed out with each sauce what the ingredients were. It's like, we're not trying to pretend this is a secret.
Mm-hmm. These aren't the only chicken tenders that we had during this trip, but these are the better chicken tenders we had during this trip.
We'll get to those on the trip back report.
Yeah.
But yeah, we also just walked around Disney Springs for a bit, which I hadn't been to since it was downtown Disney.
And I don't think I've ever been, like, at all.
And I will say the marketplace side of Disney Springs changed a lot less than I expected it to. Uh-huh. Like, there was still Once Upon a Toy with the giant Tinker Toys outside. Mm-hmm. There weren't all the Monopoly cards outside of it, but it was still, like, a lot of the big giant Hasbro stuff. Like, all the things sort of on that end were basically the same as I remember it, with just a couple minor differences and they still had Lefties, the left-handed store. They still had the Christmas store, but they no longer had the mural in there where Genie is dreaming of the harem girls.
That still is weird. When you told me that, I was like, that's just weird. Like, that's weirdo behavior.
Yeah, they had replaced that mural, but the other mural with the dwarves was still there. Yeah, a lot of that side was all the same. And even the west side, aside from the absence of Disney Quest, it still looked mostly the same. Like, there was still the House of Blues. There was still the Cirque du Soleil Theater, even though it's a different Cirque du Soleil show now. It was basically the former Pleasure Island that was completely different. It was basically the zone in the middle, the former Pleasure Island, because Chicken Guy is on the side of, like, Planet Hollywood, and the Planet Hollywood is still there, but it doesn't look like it's still dome-shaped, but it doesn't look like the Earth anymore. Yeah. They tried to re-aestheticize it to fit in this waterfront Baltimore, like, Disney Springs vibe.
National Harbor, baby.
Yeah,
it's like
this Disney Springs vibe. They're putting in, like, AMC Theater's still there, but it was like everything was slightly renovated. And again, like, the fact that they're now security checkpoints, so designated entrances and exits, there was no longer just the open air, like, we're leaving out to the parking lot this way that the downtown Disney days had, and that was a vibe shift. But it's like, T-Rex and Rainforest Cafe were still in the marketplace side. Like, less different than I thought it would be from what I heard.
A small thing I was enjoying watching is that viewers, listeners, lend me your ears. I am a closeted Lily Pulitzer fan. Like, I love big wild print. Well, maybe not closeted, but I love, and I don't get to see Lily Pulitzer too often out in California. But like walking around Disney Spring, just seeing the beautiful like spectrum of Lily Pulitzer prints just wandering around Florida just made my little heart happy.
Sure.
Just going out there. Like, I wish we had time to go check out the Lily store that was actually at Disney Springs, because there was like a little shopping center for you to like, create your Disney bound fits and stuff like that. But that was just like a nice little thing for me down there.
And for me, it was mostly just about being in a kind of familiar space, but a kind of different space. There was still like that, like there were some things I only knew I recognized, like something even in the former Pleasure Island stretch, there were some things that I knew were still there because I remembered making jokes about them in the Dave Does Disney Downtown Disney video. And it's like, okay, so that business is still there, but others that were completely different. Obviously, we looked at the outside of Gideon's. We did not wait in the Gideon's line.
It was absolutely buck wild, yeah.
But we knew that on our last day before we got to the airport, we were going to be in the Gideon's area. So we told ourselves, we'll get Gideon's then. And we'll put a pencil in that.
Yeah.
But I did want to pop into the Jock Lindsay Hangar Bar because, again, one of my biggest complaints about Disney World in Dave Does Disney was the lack of the Indiana Jones ride. But here was an Indiana Jones adjacent bar and restaurant themed after, the pilot from the cold open of Raiders. The pilot with his pet snake, Reggie, and apparently his boat is also named Reggie.
Which is like a little cute choice.
And so I was like, okay, I want to pop in there just to see. And, it's like not as much theming as I hoped it would be, but it's still, there's pictures from Exploration on the wall. Like the ceiling fans are plane propellers. There's cute touches, but it's less like Indiana Jones specific stuff than I was hoping for, but it was still cool. And we walked out on the sort of patio, and immediately we ran into bussing tables, an old SeaWorld coworker of mine.
Yeah. No, it was funny because like we got in there and I immediately struck with it. We were about to meet someone that one of us hasn't seen in years. And I was, you
had a premonition.
I had a premonition. I was sort of thinking, oh, which one of my high school friends are we about to walk into right now? And then it ended up being one of your former coworkers, which was just kind of like delightful. It was like, oh, this is great. I love that we got to run into like an unexpected friend on the way, on our way down here in Florida.
Yeah, so it was very nice to see her. It was my old friend Amy, who actually held camera for one Blitztravaganza shot.
Yeah.
The gag with the test seats for Hollywood Fried Rocket, she was holding, because we went to Universal together one day towards the end of my time in Florida, and I was like, oh, hey, could you hold camera for this? And she was very confused as to why I was requesting that of her. I was like, it's too long to explain. But it was good to run into her, and it was lovely to see her, and I was glad we got to catch up a little bit.
Yeah.
And that was the first surprise old friend we ran into, but not the last.
Not the last.
Other surprise old friends we didn't run into, but were in Florida at the same time as us. Our friends Jeff and Amanda were also doing their Disney World trip at the same time.
Yeah.
But our paths never crossed, but that's okay because they live in LA and we can see them.
We'll see them eventually.
We've seen them more recently than the other people in question, and we'll see them sooner. But
yeah, so we decided to, because we ran into your friend, we were like, let's at least like sit down, have a drink, just kind of like, enjoy.
So we had one mocktail and one cocktail. We had
So I had, I believe, the Scottish Professor, which was the cocktail.
Yes, the Scottish Professor was the actual alcoholic drink, the Henry Senior inspired drink, and the mocktail was the Poisonless Dart, which is a very good name for a mocktail.
And I honestly liked that one a little bit more than the cocktail. We both took sips from our respective drinks.
I will say, because okay, so yeah, the Scottish Professor was monkey shoulder blended malt Scotch whiskey, Hendrick's gin, peach nectar, simple syrup, and lemon juice. And the Poisonless Dart was soda water with mint, simple syrup, and lime juice.
So it basically a mojito, but
These were like cousin drinks to each other. Now me, the non-alcohol enjoyer, I actually drank probably more of the Scottish professor than you did.
Yeah.
Because, like, I was like, I still don't like the taste of scotch, but I like the texture of this drink.
Yeah.
Like, it's going down well. And the other flavors in here aren't drowning out the taste of scotch, but they're pleasant enough that I'm, like, stomaching the taste of scotch.
Yeah.
But the Poisonless Dart was just, like, pure refreshment.
Mm-hmm.
That was just, like, that was a real great, like...
It had such a nice, like, vibrant, like coolness to it.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the mint was just, like, delightful and just, like, lightly sharp. And it really just kind of made a very warm day feel a lot more bearable.
Yeah, it was like, it had, like, the fun flavor of, like, a soda, but it had, like, the refreshment of just drinking water, like the hydration element. And it was, like, it was a real pick-me-up of a drink. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure somewhere... Well, one, I'm sure it's something we could just make at home. But two, I'm sure there's like some equivalent of this at one of the many bars in Disneyland that we could get sometime. But yeah, we just sat on the patio looking out over the water, watching the hot air balloon go up and down.
Watching those cars that would go into the lake.
Yes, watching the swimming cars. It was these like these boats that were car-shaped.
And initially I was like, I wonder if this is not super expensive. Maybe we could go do one of these. And then it was like, oh, it's a little pricey, so maybe not, but it was cool to watch.
We thought about doing the hot air balloon too, but by the time we got to it, it was like down for inclement weather. So
yeah, because the rain was like about to hit, as it often was.
Because I had never done that. I had seen that hot air balloon many a time, but I had never done it because it was like, $15 or whatever it was.
I think it was like 40 now or something.
No, when we went, it was only like 22.
22. Oh, not too bad, yeah.
Yeah, it was actually pretty reasonable. But just like when I was in Florida in my 20s, I was like, I'm not spending money on anything that's not like food.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, that's why if I was really the completionist I say I am, I would have sprung for tickets for the water parks and for Disney Quest while I lived down there. Yeah. Just to be able to cover them, but it's like, no, they weren't on my pass, so I'm not doing them.
Valid.
So we enjoyed our time at Disney Springs. We went, we paid homage to the mural of Orange Bird on the side of a brick wall.
Yes.
And we took our lift back to our villa, learned the hard way that we needed to figure out exactly where the address of our building was, because we were dropped off we were dropped off like a block and a half away, and the rain started really coming down. But it wasn't so far away. But again, we didn't just summon the shuttle. So then we went back into the apartment, and then I was like, okay, the rain is still falling, but it's lighting up a little bit. I want to take a rain walk. And so I went out to the on-property store, because they told us there was like a convenience store on property. And I was like, okay, well, we'll stock up. We'll get some sodas and stuff. And we'll see if they have like, I don't know, medicines or stuff. There were like things you sent me to check it. Well, I wanted to see if they had distilled water for your CPAP.
Yeah.
And they didn't quite have distilled water, but they had purified water. Yeah. So they also had a We Proudly Serve Starbucks cafe in there. And then they also had just a lot of souvenir shift, including the requisite rack of Folk Manus puppets.
Yeah.
Didn't see our fox or our tree on the rack, but other puppets we recognize them. So yeah, I took a walk through the drizzle, basically across property. This is where it would have made sense to summon the shuttle to get me over to the store, but I wanted to explore the grounds. And, I walked past, I saw, one of the other pools. So the two pools near us, there was the bigger pool and the smaller pool. And the bigger pool near us had this, like, waterfall feature with this rock work where the water falls into the pool. And then if you walk up the side of the rock work, there were the two hot tubs back there. Like, the two hot tubs, not quite on top of the waterfall, but, like, sort of, like, next to the top of the waterfall.
Yeah, so it was just kind of like, giving you sort of, like, little places for you to hide around, which is nice.
But then as I was walking to the store, I walked past one of the other pools, which just had like a waterfall's not the word for it, but like a water feature was just like a wall of water just falling, like a little overhang where just like one flat wall of water just drops down into the pool. A rain wall. Yeah. That's closer to the vibe. Mm-hmm. And I saw that and I was like, too bad we won't have time to explore all of the pools here. But so I went to the store. I picked up some caffeinated and some decaffeinated sodas to keep in the fridge.
Yes.
Came back with the sodas. By this point, the rain had let up a little bit, so we were like, let's check out this pizza place that we were told about.
Yeah.
It was by the big pool near us with the waterfall.
Which is also going to be where we had to listen to the timeshare presentation, so we were kind of like glad.
Yes, we were also trying to scope out. So yes, we went to Azula, which was the general Italian quick service place because it was pizza but also gelato.
Yeah.
And we got there and we ordered
it was like the hot honey pepperoni, I believe.
Yeah, the hot honey pepperoni pizza like sounded like the best, like the most appealing to our sensibilities. Mm-hmm. And we were fully expecting this to just be like a medium-sized pizza that was fine.
Yeah.
Instead, it was actually a rather large pizza.
Rather dashing.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, it was like better than we were expecting, and it was more than we were expecting. So
yeah,
we were kind of like, oh, we can just probably do a slice this every day for breakfast and like not have to worry about buying breakfast.
Yeah, and sure enough, we brought it home, put it in our fridge, and
it lasted pretty well.
Yeah, we basically had a slice or two every morning, and that got us going in the morning.
Yeah. Honestly, shout out to Sheridan. I honestly think if we do go back to Florida for like maybe a longer spell, and we don't want to pay like maybe full on property hotel prices, like this was pretty solid.
I wouldn't say no to staying here again, but I think there are also like comparably good places to stay elsewhere. Well, I'll tell you, we would stay here again if we had said yes to the thing we did next morning, yes, which was the timeshare presentation.
Yes.
Where they had like they told us there will be pastries and Starbucks coffee, and by Starbucks coffee they meant like one carafe with Pike Place.
Yeah.
And by pastries they meant like pre-packaged Otis Spunkmeyer muffins.
Yeah. Which just smells like candy to me, and I just cannot like eat them, so I was like, all right.
I'll just say I was glad we had our slices of pizza beforehand.
Hell yeah.
So we went for our timeshare pitch where they sold us on Marriott. Marriott's the chain that owns Sheridan now,
Marriott
I think.
Bonvie, yeah.
Yeah, they tried to sell us on the Marriott timeshare dealio, and they're like, we know you want to think about it, but if you say yes today, here's the extra exclusive perks. And I'll say this, our timeshare salesman was lovely.
Yes.
But we had a secret weapon to say no, and that was, we can't actually afford this.
Yeah. Yeah, we were encouraged to fib about how much money we made in order to make this happen, which was fun.
We were honestly, we were in not so many words encouraged to do creative accounting, because like you had to make a minimum income to qualify for this, and when we were like, I don't think we make that income, they were like, even among all your sources of income, even among everyone in your household. And I was like, maybe if we factor in our roommate's income, it's like, great, then just say you make this much money. And I'm like, cool, fraud.
I love it. Hey, listen, it paid for dinner. That's all I care about. So
we're going to get arrested. No, we're not the ones who committed fraud.
No. But yeah, so we listened, and it's one of those things like, I was excited because I've always wanted to do one of these, and it was like a kind of fun to kind of know that we were going to say no, but just go through the whole process of it anyway. It's like, yeah, of course, it'd be great. We were like really, vibing out. And I will
say this.
Yeah.
If I had like money to burn, he did make it sound appealing.
Yeah.
To be like, if you're going to travel every year, to just know you can stay at one of these fine luxury places and it's all taken care of for you.
Yeah, and also the fact of the matter is, like, after the initial like very large down payment is paid off, it's a very reasonable-ish like yearly fee of like under $1,000 for all the stuff. And it's like, yeah, you know what, I can deal with that. But it's still, we're not yet in that frame of mind to have that as something.
No. And even if we were, I don't know that we would really be timeshare people.
No,
because I also don't want to be. I don't want to be locked into. I'm always staying at the. Well, although I guess he did say the pitch was like part of it was you can use your points at other chains through this other
like exchange that they own.
Yeah, but it's not important. What's important is that the Diet Coke I got you from the gift shop had, they all have names on them, and this one had Gabby's name on it.
So we had a little bit of her during this trip, which was lovely.
We had our roommate with us in spirit.
Yeah.
Also, I forgot about the picture I took when I was running back and forth to get because when we got the pizza, like they only had Pepsi products at the restaurant, and you were like, could you run back to the room and get the caffeine-free Diet Coke you got me? I was like, sure, I'll be happy to get that. And on my way back, I forgot I took a picture while I walked past some people who were smoking because Florida.
Yeah.
I took a picture of the official sign posted in that area that said, please do not drop your cigarette butts on the ground. The rabbits come out at night and smoke them, and we are trying to get them to quit.
It was very cute.
But anyway, we did our timeshare, and we said no. Well, we said maybe later, and
and then he tried to bring his boss over, and I had mentioned that we were like considering others. He's like, well, it was a waste of our time then to actually do this thing for you if you were only going to consider the other ones. It's like,
well, the boss also said, like, he also had this, you're doing it wrong, because what you want to do is do it like this. Like, what you want to do is not tell them all you're doing, or whatever. I forget, like, he was,
because he was sort of saying, well, now you can't do this again for another 18 months or whatever. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he's like, you... And he was saying not so much in a it's a waste of our time way, but in a if you wanted to be strategic about it, you do it like this, and you if you're pitting us all against each other, you should have done it this way. And then as soon as the boss left, the guy we were with was like is like, okay, if I was talking to you like that, I'd get fired.
Yeah. And he was like, I really don't care. I'm going to be a manager next month, so this is not going to be so skin off my nose. I'm like, yeah, fair.
Yeah, it's also worth noting that the boss who was brought over and bungling things and had significantly less charisma than the guy we were talking to, it's worth noting that he was white.
Yeah,
and
and the guy was from the Barbados, right?
Yeah. The cool guy we were talking to, stark contrast.
Yes.
Anyway, we then, after our timeshare, we took a lift to Universal Studios.
Yes.
And you'll hear about that next week.
On the next one.
So until then, this has been At Home with the Dogganses.
Later days, y'all.
Later days.